So I'm back with the last little video in this little kind of mini series. So in case you missed it, I'm Hannah, and last year I ran the New York City Marathon. So yeah, as I said, I finished. This is a very long walk from the finish to kind of where you can exit Central Park when you run the New York City Marathon. So I finished, as I said, I walked with someone who I met at the end, and I got down to the finish area. So I actually walked all the way down through all the family reunion points, and then I exited at the family reunion point, like A, I think it was, I can't remember, whatever the last one was. And then I started the walk back to the hotel. So as I previously mentioned in my last video, I was slightly worried about finishing in the dark, finishing by myself, and kind of getting back to the hotel. This was probably one of the things I was most stressed about. But honestly, I had absolutely no need to worry for a couple of reasons. First of all, I kind of looked at the best way back, and there were two options. Either I could get the subway, but I could also walk it. So it was about a 20-minute walk, or probably about a 15-minute underground journey. And I decided that actually I was going to walk it, just because by the time I knew that I'd got on the subway, it was probably just as quick to walk it. It was, however, about a 20-block walk. So yeah, it did take me a fair amount of time to walk back. And as I said, I was a little bit worried about doing that by myself in the dark, but actually I really did not have a need to worry in the slightest. There were so many people about that I did not feel unsafe at any point. There were also a lot of police around, obviously just because it was busy, road closures. And yeah, it was, I did not feel unsafe at any point, and I eventually made it back to the hotel. And thankfully my family were waiting up for me. Bear in mind, it was about 11 o'clock UK time, so it was quite late, but they were all waiting up for me, waiting to hear from me, which was really nice. So I got back to the hotel, spoke to them, showed them my medal, etc. And I got back to the hotel it was probably about 6 o'clock in the evening, 20 past 6. And yeah, I had a little chat with them. I think I said to them at the time, oh, I don't want to ever do another marathon again. But that was literally the only point I said that. I did not say that any more times beyond that one time I said it to them, because immediately afterwards I was like, yeah, I want to do another one. I obviously had such a good time, really, that it didn't put me off. I didn't need to wait like I did after London to feel ready to do another one. So after I got back to the hotel, as I said, it was quite, it was, well, not late, but it had been a long day already at this point. And we had the after party for Sports Stars International at the Hard Rock Cafe, which conveniently, this was only about a 5-minute walk. It was literally just the next block across. So I literally got back to the hotel, spoke to my family, got changed really quickly. I didn't even shower at this point. I got changed and went straight across to Hard Rock Cafe, had some food, had a drink, and I stayed there for maybe about an hour. But then I'd had enough. As I said, I literally got back to the hotel, spoke to my family, and went straight back out again. I didn't actually have a chance to sit down or shower or just anything. But the main thing was to go and get some food in me, which is the reason I went. Then I wasn't stressing about trying to get any food, because I knew there was free food for me. And that was really, really nice, actually. As you went into the Hard Rock Cafe, they booked the whole thing out. So we went in and they were cheering for you, all the Sports Stars International staff who are out there, which was really nice. And then I got my food, got a drink, and I went and sat at a table. I joined a couple, Simon and Danny, who was a little bit of a small word actually, because Danny actually followed me on Instagram already. And she was like, oh, I follow you on Instagram. I was like, no way, that's so weird. So I got talking to them, and yeah, as I said, they didn't stay very long. I didn't stay very long. It's just been a really long day, and as I said, I literally got back to the hotel and went straight back out again. So I was quite ready to go back to the hotel, sit down, just process kind of the evening, and just start to chill. So I went to bed reasonably early as I was quite tired, understandably. But as a result, I then also woke up quite early. It kind of seems to be a key theme for me. The two times I've run a marathon, I haven't really slept very well the night after, which I always find a bit weird because you think you're going to sleep really, really well, but you don't. I think it's just like the adrenaline, sort of the aches are starting to creep in. And yeah, so I woke up quite early, and then I took myself down to the, I can't remember what they call it, the Marathon Monday, Medal Monday. We're back at the finish line. So I got up, had my breakfast, and basically just retraced my steps back up to the finish line. I didn't actually feel too bad at this point. I felt reasonably okay, and I walked back to get my medal engraved. So it'd always been my plan to go back to the finish line and do this. I just hadn't worked out what time it was going to be, but since I was awake quite early, I got up there and did that. And there wasn't too much for queue actually, maybe about half an hour I think I was waiting in the queue to get to the front to get my medal engraved. I paid however much it was. I want to say like $20 to get my medal engraved, and then as they were doing that, I went for a little wander around like the finish line shop kind of thing, and then picked my medal up and then walked back to the hotel. So then I got back to the hotel, and my plan then for the day was I was going up top of the rock. So I went up that. So originally that was the only kind of skyscraper I'd planned to go up, because when we'd visited New York previously, that was the one me and Mum preferred. Empire State Building, in my opinion, is good, but it's a little bit overrated. Top of the Rock is much nicer because you get views of the Empire State Building. You also get views of Central Park. So I went up top of the rock and yeah, spent a little bit of time up there. It was quite busy actually. And what was quite appreciated was before you left, they had some like cameras and photography, so they could I got some photos done, which I'll put in here. They're probably some of my favourite photos that I had done from New York. And then after that, I found I actually had a lot of time to kill. I didn't really know what I was going to do with myself. So after that, I walked back to New York Roadrunners store, which was about a 20-minute walk from where I was, just because there was a jumper that I'd seen at the expo that I really wanted and I really regretted not buying it. So I went to go and see if they had it there. Sadly, they didn't, but I went there, and then I went back to the hotel and grabbed some lunch, and then I went back out to Grand Central Terminal, I think it's actually called, because when me and Mum visited New York back in 2010, that was something we actually really regretted not going to. So I walked across to there. It was about a 20-minute walk again. And yeah, took some photos around there. Went to go and find the Bath and Body Works because one of my friends had asked me to get some bits for her, which was right by the Grand Central station. So I did that. And then I walked back to the hotel, and I'm not going to lie, at that point, I was just done, which was a real shame. It was only about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but I was just done. My feet were so painful. I had the worst blisters you could ever imagine, and I was just, yeah, I was done. I just said it was a real shame and a bit of a disappointment because I was like, right, I'm in New York, I've got all this stuff I could possibly do. But I just couldn't, like literally my feet just hurt so badly that I just couldn't even have my shoes on, to the point that I'd actually been looking on that day. I kind of browsed a few shops between Grand Central Terminal and back to the hotel just for a pair of flip-flops, because I forgot to take my recovery like flip-flops with me, and I really regretted that. So I spent ages looking for some, didn't find any that I liked, or if I did, they weren't in the right size, because funnily enough, I was there in November. I wasn't there in the summer, so of course not really any places had them. The one place that I was pretty sure would have them, it was about a 25-30 minute walk from the hotel, and I just thought, I can't. My feet were just too painful to even walk any further. So yeah, as I said, bit of a disappointment that I couldn't do more, but I was just done. My feet just were wrecked, and I couldn't walk any further. And for dinner that evening, I bought myself McDonald's. There seems to be a bit of a theme to this, but you know, post-marathon, why not? And then I went to bed quite early again. And I started packing actually because I was going home on the Tuesday. Then on the Tuesday morning, because I'd done everything I wanted to do the day before, I actually found I had a free morning, and also kindly the hotel gave me a later checkout because I'd asked them about luggage storage, and they were like, oh, how long do you need luggage storage for? I was like, only like an hour or two. Because I said that I was literally popping out down to the Empire State Building that morning, and they were like, oh, we can put a late checkout on your room. And I was like, well, that's amazing. So they did that for me, and I went down to the Empire State Building. So I'd actually paid extra for express, like an express pass at the top of the Empire State Building, because basically it was like a 20-minute walk from my hotel. It opened at 10 o'clock, and I needed to be like meeting at the hotel for leaving at 1 o'clock. So I only had 3 hours. So I was like, well, it only gives me like 2 hours buffer if it's going to take me like 20 minutes to walk each side. So I got there a little bit earlier because I thought, right, I'll get there early. Also, I allowed extra time to walk because my feet were so unbelievably painful. I allowed myself extra time, thinking if I get there early, I'll just go for a wander, maybe find a coffee, something like that. And when I got there, they were actually opening. So I got straight in, and I got straight up, and they didn't open the observation decks until about 10 o'clock, I think it was, which meant I couldn't actually like go onto the decks, but I was actually up there and ready to go onto the decks for when they opened. So I'd paid like $20 extra for this fast track pass, which I didn't even need, which was so annoying. But it would be typical that if I hadn't done it, something would have happened and I'd be stressing about getting back to the hotel in time. So I did that. And I did pay extra to go up to the 103rd floor of the Empire State Building, which I don't think was a thing when me and Mum went, or if it was, we didn't do it. So I went up that, and I was the first one up there for the day, which was quite cool. That was quite special to be the first person up there, and the lady who took me up there kind of made this big thing about it, and she took some photos of me at the top, which was really nice. And then I went back down, and I wandered around kind of a few of the shops in that area, including Macy's, because, you know, I was walking past it. I had a bit of extra time, and then I made it back to the hotel, and I had about an hour left between checking out and going back to the airport. So I got some lunch, and yeah, and then we headed back to the airport. Again, took absolutely forever on the coach transfer, but it was easy. I didn't need to worry about anything because I was on the coach. And yeah, then I flew home. So then in terms of what's happened since and kind of what's next for me, coming back from New York was kind of disappointing and frustrating because literally about 2 days after I got home, I had the worst pain in my foot. It wasn't blister pain like I had in New York. This was something else. I could literally barely walk, which was awful. So turns out I ended up having peroneal tendonitis, which was very frustrating, which actually put me out of running for about 2 months, which was the worst thing, having come off such a great marathon experience. Because all I wanted to do when I got home was run, but I couldn't. And that was so frustrating. And I've only just really started in the last kind of 8 weeks. So I had to get back to a bit more consistent training. But also when I got back from New York, I entered the ballot for the Berlin Marathon because I didn't. The ballot was actually open when I went to New York, but I didn't want to sign up for it because I thought I don't want to put my name in that hat for Berlin, have the worst experience in New York, decide I really don't want to do a marathon again, and then regret having signed up to it, and then get drawn, and then then have to do it basically. So I waited till I got back, and I entered the ballot and I got in. That was completely unexpected. As I said, I don't have much luck with ballots. I failed to get into London several times. I failed to get into the Great North Run through the ballot. It took me about 3 attempts to get into London landmarks through the ballot. So I didn't really kind of think I would get in the ballot. And then I did. But not only that, but hearing so many people who got rejected from the ballot, and also hearing that it was the most oversubscribed ballot they've had in their history so far, because it's the 50th Berlin Marathon this year. So I got into that, which was really, really nice, and yeah, a bit unexpected. So I will be running Berlin in September. So between now, which is middle of April, until then, I've got a few races, but my goal for more this year is just to listen to my body more, and race a bit less, but try to focus on having a better build up to things, having better like training blocks rather than race every few weeks over the kind of the main season and then regret it. So I've got a couple of 10-kilometer races coming up. 2 of those are with like friends or family, so they're not, I don't really know at this point whether they're going to be like proper races. And then I've got Great North Run in September, and then Berlin at the end of September, which would be nice. So yeah, we'll watch this space and just hopefully I will do a better training diary for Berlin as we go. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this little mini series and see you again soon.